This is Richard with EV4U Custom Conversions, and today in this video we're going to consider this Jeep. The people that own the vehicle had somebody else do the conversion for them, and that guy brought it by, I think it was sometime last year, and we went over a few things together, and then time goes by and somebody else brought it up for me to consider completing it. It's a project that somebody started and hasn't completed. We'll do a quick little walk around first, and you can see that it does say CJ7. We'll just take a look here. I think they did, remember talking to the guy, I think they did a chassis off restoration. So, take a look inside here. Looks nice, all new and fresh. Even smells new and fresh. Nice engraved gear shift knob there. So there's the dash. It's got a full cage. All sorts of stuff going on there. Like I said, I don't know what's going on yet. Haven't inspected it yet, really. Just gave it there we go. Just gave it a glance. It almost looks like transmission fluid, but we'll investigate that. But first, we'll take a look at under the hood. Well, there's a bunch of wires hanging down. This is a High Performance Electric Vehicle Systems AC51. And in the front here I can see there's a cooling radiator right there. And one of the things I noticed earlier, and we'll pop the hood and let's take a look, but there's no battery hold down. They're sitting in a box, but they're not secured down that I can tell. But let me open the hood and we'll take a closer look. Okay, well, let's go in closer. So we can see Optima auxiliary battery here, 12-volt battery. We've got an inertia switch. We've got an AVC2 right here. We've got some relays. Looks like we got a fuse block, terminal strip going on over there. Here we've got a reservoir, vacuum reservoir. Either there's still vacuum in there. I don't know when the last time they had the key on, but there's either the gauge is off or they still have vacuum in there. Here's the vacuum pump. 5 kilowatt Elcon charger. We've got main disconnect, says heater contactor. Looks like I touched it earlier. Looks like coolant running on the top here, and that has to be coming, I would think, from the chill plate. So the main contactor. This must be. It looks like contactor that's running to the DC to DC converter. DC to DC converter's back here. This is your 1239 inverter. This is pre-charge resistor. You can see the wires come loose right here going to the heater. We've got a shunt, KSI relay right there. Got your wiring harness coming out of your controller. We've got the cables going down to the motor. We got a coolant reservoir there. There's a power steering pump down here. Horn. There's your clutch. Master cylinder. We can see the adapter and motor down there. Oh, there's a coolant pump right there. I see that. So, but here's the thing. Right here, between that aluminum plate that things are mounted on, it's got braided interconnects for the cells. They're Calb CA series 180 amp hour cells. But I don't see, there's another loose wire over there. I don't see anything holding them down. They're just sitting in there. And there's some coolant leaking down on top of things right there. I see it coming down. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but there's a drop of coolant right there. Let's come over here and see if we can see a little more unobstructed maybe. So yeah, there's nothing holding those cells. So this is a metal frame ABS piece, and it's built up off the frame there. And right here it's just held up on a bolt. Not the way I would do it, but you know, there's lots of ways to do things, and we see all different layouts. But I'll get on the creeper and we'll take a look at the from the little different perspective. We'll take a look from the bottom. Well, here's the view from the bottom. Take a look at those right there, those aluminum brackets. That's what's holding the power brakes, you know, the vacuum pump for the power brakes. It's just a self-tapper going into the bottom of that battery frame. It does have shock mounted engine mounting points. The bottom of the battery box there. So this only has a couple bolts holding it on. So it's just wobbling there. So it's connected here with a little screw, and then you had the little self-tapper on the bottom that we were looking at. Same way with the pump. And these are all little tiny screws that are threaded into the plate. Not very big screws. And we use 1/4 inch, bolts. But we've got cabling that needs to be protected. You can see where it's chafed a little bit. It goes by the sheet metal there. We've got it going over the sharp edge of the aluminum there. Oh yeah, we can feel it's digging in there. So there's just a lot of things that need attention, but the big ones is that all of this would have to be removed and come up with a system to retain those cells, to secure those cells in that box at the very least. So all of this would have to be disconnected, and I would be kind of easy. Fortunately, these are just threaded in there, but no lock washers or anything in there. But I think I would go with 1/4 inch, take it apart, retap those, do 1/4 inch with a lock washer. But remove all this. There's a lot of weight. Remove all the things attached to this aluminum plate, and then remove that plate carefully. I think we'd put something between the plate and the batteries to make sure that nothing shorts when you go to lift that plate out, because this would have to be removed. This component board, that have to be removed in order to come up with some kind of cell hold down. And you've only got so much room to do that with, so not a lot of clearance. I don't know how much clearance they have between here and the hood. One thing I haven't noticed just in our little walk around, where's the charge port? Yeah, duh. I didn't even see it when I was walking around. So there's the charge port right there. Okay, that's cool. Right where the fuel is, I always like that. So there's another battery box in the rear here. I'm going to open up this back flap and we'll take a look. Well, it doesn't get any better back here. This is a metal plate with like a little plastic over it, and it's right on. Let's see if I can get my arm in here. And there's no rigid support of these cells, so you can see a little ABS spacer right here, but these cells are not in line. They're just they're free floating in there. And at the end here, it's a piece of foam. Looks like the foam that the motors are held in when they ship them. That's what it's like. And then here, feels like some more foam right here, spacing some batteries. So there must be 2 rows here. So there's the cell and a cell, and then there's a gap right here. And they're just up against the seat here. There's nothing keeping them from. No, they're just sitting in there. This is going to require some re-engineering of the battery containment, front and rear, along with the inspection of everything else. To get this in, drivable, completed condition. There's a lot of unknown. I wonder what's leaking on the floor. Let me grab the creeper and we'll take a look. Well, I don't see it leaking anywhere. But anyway, what it is there's fluid that's pooled in this tray, in this cross member, and that's what's leaking from it having been moved. I just rolled it off a trailer and into the warehouse yesterday afternoon, so that's why I haven't looked at this thing. I've been busy. And but I don't see anything leaking. It's in that tray that we're getting the stuff. Where it's coming from, I don't see any, but I'm thinking it's probably spilled when they were filling the transmission. It was in the tray and they didn't wipe it up, and it's just leaking out now. So, and there we can see cabling run down the that's the passenger side frame rail running to the back. So that's front to rear battery cabling and their charge port above it. So you got two lines from the rear battery pack, and then the split loom for the I don't even know if it's split, but anyway, the orange loom going back to the charge port. Well, let's go on the other side over here and see what we can see. Okay, this is the front. That's the bell housing. You know, again, see something like that? I'd use a washer. That's just me. I hate to be critical of other people's work. So that's good. I'm glad to see it's not leaking. It just needs to be cleaned up, so we'll take care of that. There's the fuse. Traction pack fuse down there. We'll have to check and see that, you know, the wiring is done properly and all that. I have no idea. I don't like designing a setup where you can't get to the batteries. There's no way to inspect, to check the torque on your interconnects, anything like that. We design things with serviceability in mind, and that's just not. Electric window set up, just hanging there. I'm guessing this is a menu switch. Don't know what that switch is. Got a wire hanging loose, so it's probably nothing. Or maybe that was their electronic reverse. I don't know. Didn't remember seeing the throttle. Now that I'm thinking about it. No, that's it. We're looking at the, so right here, that's the throttle linkage coming in right there. And that's your throttle level right there. So it's mounted vertically like this, and it activates that way towards the firewall. Either they spilled it when they were filling it, or the chill plate's leaking. I don't see anywhere else where, you know, you're going to get coolant on this component board. Well, that's it for our just initial overview of this CJ7. But the vehicle itself is clean and nice paint job, nice cage. I mean, this is all very nice. Just not finished. So we only do conversion work. We're not going to do any of the other things that this needs, but we'll see if they're willing to make the investment to do what needs to be done. There's still a fair amount to be done. So, as you know, I don't like being in front of the camera, so I was going to say see you next time. maybe you won't. but I hope you watch the video anyway. Until then, enjoy the drive.